if the world of sport is slightly fragmented, we're now going to try and unpick the rest of the landscape. And to help us do that, from Comcast Advertising, please give a very warm welcome the president, James Rooke.
Hi, everybody. Great to be back in my hometown, always at Christmas. Last time I was standing on this stage, I made a call to action, and that call to action was related to the need to solve what is currently an uneven playing field between the big media companies and the big tech platforms as it pertains to media transparency. And I did that because every day, for anyone that works in traditional media, we have a really, really hard job on our hands. And that job is to, how do we bring the traditional linear inventory together with streaming inventory to deliver a seamless, unified, multi-screen campaign, and do that against the backdrop of different tech stacks, different processes, different policies, frustrations with measurement, and everything else in between. And if life wasn't hard enough, if my clicker works, then we're having to do that against a backdrop, and this is a slide from last year, that says that the traditional media ecosystem is held to a higher standard than the platform companies. And the platform companies provide transparency, not all of them, but many of them, into a subset of impressions they deliver. Third-party validation is a nice to have. And there is a press to drive towards a world in which all the impressions are created equal. Whereas the traditional media ecosystem is held to a different and higher, and rightfully higher, or rightfully high standard, which is all impressions have to be transparent and third-party measured. Now, I'm not saying that in platforms like Meta or Google, there isn't incredibly good premium content or great ad environments. There are. And trying to argue the otherwise, I think, is naive and backwards, because there are. But it's a subset of the total universe. And if you think about the scandals that have taken place over the last few years of ads running where they shouldn't, or brands buying what they thought was one type of content and actually getting another, it's a problem. And again, I shared these quotes last year, but there's a reason for this, is when we spoke to advertisers and agencies, they all feel the same frustration. They are deeply frustrated with the double standards and with a lack of transparency. And you can read some of these quotes that I shared last year. But as I thought about what I was going to talk about this year, there was one quote that was on this slide, or sorry, on the next slide, that I showed last year that gave me the theme. And that is, despite the frustration from agencies and marketers, the process of TV is too difficult, and the big tech platforms make it easy, and easy matters. And so the theme for today, and the theme that I'll be talking about in 2025, is about the need for our ecosystem to embrace simplicity. Because without that, I think we're going to fail. Let's talk about why. Now, if I talk to the chief investment officers or any of the agencies, and I've done this, and they say, if I've got $20 million or pounds that have to get moved on a Friday morning by a Friday evening, 100% of that is going into social video or into YouTube. Not because they want to or they think it's the right thing to do, but they have no choice. They have no choice because it's too difficult to execute it into other environments. On top of that, we know what's happening with linear viewership decline. That is obvious. And there's great work going on for the media companies in terms of building out streaming services, but the monetization of those services isn't today offsetting the decline in linear. On top of that, for the sort of Fortune 1000 companies, that's the core bread and butter of big media companies like Comcast, the competition is increasing for the same marketing dollars as companies like Amazon or Netflix launch ad-supported offerings and provide new supply into the marketplace. The other thing that's happening is that new growth, and the majority of growth, is going into social video. Social overall is about a $300 billion business globally, and it's about $150 billion between social video and YouTube. It is a meaningful business. That is where the growth is going. That said, it's not all doom and gloom. And the reason for that is there is a genuine opportunity for premium video as a category to go on offense. And it's to go on offense, to go after a $150 billion market that's made up of YouTube and social video and all those equivalents. Because there is latent demand, and that demand is from millions of merchants around the world who have built their businesses on social video and YouTube, but are frustrated and looking for a viable alternate. They're looking for a viable alternate because they're looking to get to the next stage of growth. And they believe that the return on investment from the dollars that they're spending today on social is peaked. They want desperately to buy in and leverage the category of premium video because they know it will help them build credibility for their brand, but it's too difficult to do so. And you think now about the number of merchant aggregators out there. Think about the Shopifys of the world, think about PayPal's, think about the Instacarts, and the retail media networks. Think about the Ubers, the Lyfts, and all the others who are represent large amounts of merchants, but those merchants don't have choice. The choice they have is big tech. And there is a category that they want to access but can't. And the data you're seeing here is from Comcast spoke to about 250 direct-to-consumer companies in the last few months, all digital native who've never bought multi-screen TV, premium video, whatever you want to call it. And this is what they said. On top of that, there are these direct-to-consumer companies, millions of them out there, and a subset of them have used multi-screen TV. The VAB, Video Advertising Bureau, is just putting out a study that shows over 900 advertisers across 74 categories. And the graph you can see the hockey stick peak, is what happens when a campaign on TV launches and the impact on Google search results. It is hockey stick. And for those 900 advertisers, in 90% of cases, those first to TV advertisers saw up to a 75% spike in their search results 10 to 14 days after the campaign launch. That is significant and meaningful. And for a subset of those, that's the e-commerce category, they saw up to a 50% lift in monthly traffic, which equivalized to over 1 million new monthly customers to that website. So in the US, there's about $4 billion that is spent from new to TV, direct-to-consumer advertisers. But $4 billion is still scratching the surface when you think about it against a $150 billion latent demand market out there. So advertisers want it, but they can't access it. We know we have a product in premium video that works. So what's the problem? The problem is that it's too complicated, and simplicity matters. There's 3 points of simplicity I want to talk about. In fact, make that 2 and 1 bonus. Bringing the easy button to TV, proving always on, and the underline there is always on full funnel proof of performance. And then to prepare for the future, we got to clean up the media supply chain as it exists today as dollars move to programmatic. I'll get to that at the end. Okay, so bringing the easy button to TV. There is a playbook, and big tech has done an incredible job at simplifying the ability for these millions of merchants to be able to buy their inventory. And television has not done this and needs to do this. So I'm not saying these are all of the ingredients, but these are a subset of the ingredients that all have to come together. You have to bring scaled, qualified audiences. And big tech can do that because it's underpinned by a controlled walled garden identity network. You have to have a frictionless user experience. There has to be no learning curve because these small businesses haven't got time to learn things. And they have been conditioned over the last few years to what simple looks like. You have to change the sales motion. And by that means that premium video inventory has to meet the advertiser where it wants to be met, and that is native within the platforms where they spend time. Think about Shopify as a good example, that 3 million merchants spend their time in that platform. They don't want to go outside of it in order to buy their advertising. There has to be no platform tax. All spend has got to go to media so you can make it more performative. You have to solve the creative problem. There are more and more Gen AI creative companies out there that you can plug into these APIs and enable a TV-ready creative to be up and running for no cost within 5 minutes. The algorithms of the underpinning ad servers have to be optimized towards performance. That does not mean purchase or bottom of funnel, because that's not where premium video is going to win. It means demonstrating performance at marketing metrics at each level of the purchase funnel and showing the halo effect down it. There has to be always-on performance reporting to drive repeat ad investments. And then you need seamless payments through credit cards and moving to automated line of credits. That is the simplification playbook. The opportunity, therefore, is to bring the simplification playbook that big tech has done an amazing job of writing and replicating, and bring it with the power of premium. Highly engaged, new qualified audiences, 100% brand safe, 100% transparent, underpinned by deterministic household identity to find those audiences. And I want to just double click on what are the ingredients, which is proof of performance. And the point here is time and time again, research has shown that premium video, multi-screen TV, is performative at all levels of the purchase funnel, not just driving brand. The problem is it's too difficult to measure impact, but specifically, it's too difficult to measure impact in a timely way. The opportunity is to simplify and to operationalize always-on full funnel proof of performance. So it is easy, it is natively integrated into the user experiences that the merchant wants to view that, to enable in-flight optimizations. So it is about speed, speed, speed. It's not just about proving that it works. The good news is truth is on our side here. The bad news is it's too slow, and if it's too slow, it doesn't matter. Okay. The simplification playbook I just walked through needs to come hand in hand with a specific go-to-market. The good news is there's many major media companies out there who see this opportunity, and they are going after this opportunity. The problem, as I see it, is we are going after it as an industry, as individuals, which means we're taking a publisher-centric approach. And so if you're a small business, it's great that you can access new premium video offerings, but the problem is it is a fragmented landscape that you have to integrate into. Different logins, different user experiences, different capabilities, and none of us, including Comcast, lack the necessary scale when you're up against other categories, short form as a category of YouTube, or social video with Meta and their equivalents. You have to bring scale, and it has to be standardized and unified. So the opportunity here is to move from a publisher-centric approach to an advertiser-centric approach. And that means creating a single access point to enable that small business to be able to access premium video as a category with consistent functionality where there's no learning curve, where there is an ability to work directly with a specific media company, but also work with an audience, but do that in a single, consistent way. That is the opportunity. Because if we can't do that, then if you're an advertiser, you're like, it's just too difficult. And I'm just going to keep moving my money to YouTube, keep moving it to Meta, because you've not solved the simplicity issue. So it's not just about the application of a simplicity playbook, but it's about the go-to-market that comes with it, where TV has to act more like a platform if it is to go after the growth opportunity. I said there's one bonus topic, and that one bonus topic is simplifying the media supply chain. So I'm focusing back now on the Fortune 1000 world, the bread and butter of where the media companies spend their time working with the large advertisers today. We know this, but as more and more dollars move to programmatic, and from what we see through Freewheel across our client base, the growth is significant, but it's still only about 20% of total streaming or CTV inventory is executed through programmatic. So we're still in the early days. And yet we've somehow created a supply chain that is incredibly inefficient. And by inefficient, I mean when we go from try and move a dollar from route demand into route supply, there are so many tributaries that it goes through, which is impacting working media. It is reducing working media. It is impacting the viewer experience, and is increasing operational complexity. It's a mess. And if we don't solve that now, we are creating a bigger and bigger downstream issue. And that downstream issue, as more viewing takes place in live, the intersect of live viewing and programmatic is a really hard problem to solve. If we have so many intermediaries in the middle of these supply chains, then viewer experience is going to be impacted, let alone working media. And there is a big focus right now on how do we make linear inventory behave more like streaming, because we have to open up that Pacific Ocean of inventory and make it behave like streaming so it can be transacted the same way with the same capabilities. And if we don't solve the supply chain issues now on CTV, as that new inventory comes in, we're just creating a bigger problem. And finally, social video is about 90% transacted programmatically. That is just the way that it works. So we need to get this right. So as an industry, we can go after this bigger opportunity against going after social video, what I talked about earlier, but we've got to do it with programmatic standards set and clean highways. Okay. So theme for last year was media transparency and a level playing field. By the way, that theme still exists. I'm going to build on it this year with simplicity. We've got to bring the easy button to TV. By the way, that's not just to go after the growth opportunity with the SMBs I talked about, but as I said earlier, large agencies and marketers also need it to be made more simple. So on that Friday afternoon, they can allocate dollars into premium video and not just into social video and YouTube, because it's too difficult to do otherwise. We have to solve always-on full funnel proof of performance. There is a huge opportunity to attack at mid-funnel. The data proves it works, but we have to do it within a campaign. It has to be always on. And within the world that we do control right now, we have to simplify the media supply chain. The good news is advertisers want this. We have the technology to do it. We have great products. We just need to execute on it now. Thank you.